Hello everyone, JK Origami here, and today I'm going to be teaching you my new design, an origami dragon. This design, I would say, is an intermediate difficult level. Basically, if you have some experience with origami, like the basic folds, it won't be too hard, but you need to have some experience. I wouldn't recommend this as a first model, and there are a couple tricky steps. Well, what's really nice about this model is, if you put the legs correctly, it can stand. There. It can stand. So, I really like this model. I enjoyed folding it. And I use a really interesting base to fold it. It's a variation of the square base. So I would recommend a tissue foil paper. I would say no smaller than 25 by 25 centimeter. It's incredibly difficult to shape the model, and especially if you want the legs to be able to stand. And for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to be using a 25 by 25 centimeter square of kami with color on one side. And if you want your dragon to be colored like this in the back of the wings white, you're going to start white side up. So, like that. Okay, so we're going to fold along the diagonals, both directions, to start. Okay, and try to make very precise creases, and yeah, these creases are very important, especially later on, especially for this model, so make sure it's very precise. Okay, then once you've creased both diagonals, I'm going to crease the halves. So fold the paper in half, like that, and unfold, rotate, fold it in half the other direction, like that. Okay, now once you folded it, it should look like this. And now flip the paper over. So now that we're color side up, we're going to take all four corners and fold them to the center. So want to make sure it's very precise as well. So fold the line, crease, just keep going. It's pretty difficult. It's not that difficult. You just want to make sure it really lines up. Okay. Okay, so now we should have something that looks like this. And flip it over and rotate the paper so it looks like this. Now we're going to make a preliminary base or square base with the creases we already have. So you can remake the creases so that they correspond to all layers. So for the flaps up top, you're basically just reversing it because you already have it down here. Then you flip the model over and you can reverse these creases. Okay, and you can flip it back over. Now you can collapse your base. So grab these two corners, pull them in, and use the creases that we already have. And then it should come down and you can squash. So it should look something like this. And then you can, depending how it collapsed, you can adjust the creases if you have to. Just make it look a little bit nicer. But yeah, it looks something like this. Now we're going to start. We're going to continue on to make a petal fold. Basically, we're pretty much just making the tsuaru right now, or the crane. So fold this edge there, fold this edge to the center. Make sure they line up perfectly. Okay. Crease sharply. Now unfold. And now we're going to reverse fold the two edges in along the existing creases, like this. And make sure the edge doesn't slide. So it looks like that. And you want to make sure these edges stay the same. So you see how mine still line up? So it looks like that. Now I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of open up this flap a little bit so it sticks out at about 90 degrees, like that. Okay, and then what we do is we kind of lift up, fold this flap back a little bit, and we go to the top and we pull this point off like that, just pulling the layer off and flatten. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So I'll show you again on this side. So we're going to pull this flap out, fold this other flap back a little bit, and just put the finger at the top, lift this part up, pull the corner down, and this edge should come out, and then make sure the other one doesn't go back, and then you flatten along the creases. So now it should look something like this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fold this edge back up and then flip it over and repeat on this side. So fold this edge in and then fold this edge in just like we did before, and unfold. Use the existing creases to make a petal fold. And again, make sure the layers don't slide as you do your petal folds. Okay, and once you've done your petal folds, flatten it, make sure the layers didn't slide, okay? Then you can lift it up at about a 90-degree angle and basically take the layer off. Okay, there we go. Flatten, go to the other side, lift it up, and flatten. Okay, and then we can open this side up too. So now, the next step we have to do is using these existing creases, we're going to fold these edges, these four edges in. So using this crease, just fold it in. But you don't want to extend the crease, and just reverse it. And then fold this side in right along the crease, just reverse it. Okay. And you can, if it's a little imprecise, since this layer was like a little bit not quite the same as the other one, so it might be imprecise, you can just fix it. So now I have my two creases and make a rabbit ear. Looks something like that. And you can fold it up and get the crease going both sides. But again, make sure it's precise. Okay, so there we go. Okay, then repeat on this side. So, okay, so crease, and then like that. Okay, make the creases, and then flip it over and repeat on the last two flaps. I'm sure someone used this base before, but I decided to use it for the dragon. Okay, so there. Now it looks something like this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to open it up. We're going to find the middle, which is right there, and the middle, which is right there, and we're going to open it up. So now it looks like that. Okay, just going to collapse it. I'll zoom out. We're just going to push it down like this, just so that it gets a little bit of the shape and the creases take shape. So now what we're going to do is, we're going to fold these two layers down. And, okay, there. Now we can flatten. Okay? Now it should look something like this. So now we're going to take the top layer and just fold it up a little bit. Get a crease. Whoops. Get a crease on this layer. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the top of the flap and fold it down to that crease. So, like that. Something like that. So now it looks something like this. And now what we're going to do is, we're going to open it up, and we're going to open sync. So the way we do that is, we pull the layers apart a little bit, like this. And we find the square in the middle, which is right here. We make all those creases into mountain folds, and whatever creases are in the middle, we're just going to reverse. We can do that pretty much by just pushing everything down. And then it should look like this. Okay. So now we can fold these flaps back up, like that, and then find the middle, and open, and then fold these other flaps back up too. Okay. So now you can kind of already see the dragon taking shape. These are going to be the 4 bottom legs. These are going to be the wings and the head and tail. So now we're going to do a little bit of work on the legs. So we're going to take this edge and align it with the central crease. So there are quite a few layers up there, so try to crease it as precisely as possible. Okay, so if you have any kind of tool, you should use it. I don't really have anything, so my nails will have to do. So just crease it really sharply. And then you can repeat on the other side. So just crease really sharply. Okay, and then unfold. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this top layer, fold it up a little bit. And now we're going to open it up a little bit, so we get to this layer. And now you see we have this layer on top. So we have 2 layers here. The layer on top we kind of want out of the way. And then for the layer here, kind of open it up a little bit, and you can stick your fingers inside. And then you're going to find a diagonal crease here, which should be mountain folds. And then you'll find one here, which is a valley fold, which you need to reverse into a mountain fold. So make sure it's precise, okay? And then where these 2 points meet, these 2 lines, we're going to make a mountain fold connecting the 2, like that. And then all we have to do is push this flap together, and then there we go. Now all we have to do is refold the layers, and there we go. Now we should have something that looks like this. So now repeat on the other side with the other crease. So open it up, kind of remove this other layer in front, and find your 2 folds and make them both mountain folds. Okay, make sure they're precise, because if they're imprecise, the model won't turn out as nice. Make the crease connecting the 2, collapse it back in, and then you can remake the layers. So it needs to come like this, and then this can open up, and that folds back up. Okay. So once that's done, it should look something like this. So now what we have to do is repeat on the other side. So flip it over and make this crease and make this crease. And now I'm just going to do it a little bit faster. I already showed it twice, so if you need further help with it, or if you want to verify, you can check the other 2 times I did it. But yeah, this is a very interesting model. It actually didn't take me very long to design, but it's a really nice design, I find. And it's probably one of the easiest, well, maybe not one of the easiest, but it's one of the nicest easy dragons on, well, basically that I know of. But yeah, if you have tissue foil, it might be a little harder to do certain steps like this, but don't worry, the foil will pay off soon. So okay, now once we have this, even out the layers so you have 2 on each side. Okay, and I'm just fixing that up a little bit. So now it should look something like this. So now there's one more step we have to do to further shape the legs a little bit. And what we have to do is we have to bring this point here to, if you look very closely, you'll see we have a white dot right there in between the legs, right up to that point. So take one layer at a time, this layer, which is actually quite a few in one, but you take that, and you know what, it's a little easier if you fold this top layer down, and then you see you have this crease here, you have that crease here, where it intersects this point. So that point there, we're going to take this point and bring it right up to there. And then now what you have to do, after you crease sharply, you're going to take this next edge and fold it right over the crease we just made. So just fold it right over, crease sharply, and then look something like that. Now repeat with this edge. So fold the point to the center, and then fold this edge over top, and then it looks something like that. So now, after you've made sure it's creased really sharply, especially with foil, we're going to unfold, and if you look closely, it should intersect this crease here. You see, you made this open sink earlier, and this should intersect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fold this layer back up, and only about so it's 90 degrees. And now what we have to do is we have to kind of open up the layer beside it. So this layer, kind of like that. You can fold it down a little bit too. And now what we need to do is we need to kind of, okay, so if we look at it from this side, this layer is one, and then there's this layer underneath, and we get into this really big pocket here. That's where you want to be. So then if you open up the paper a little bit, you find your triangular fold along there. Find your triangular fold. So you're going to crease, make all the creases here mountain folds along the outside of your triangle. And this other layer up there, you can just use that too, it doesn't matter. And once you made your creases, just push everything in, and there you go. Now we've done another open sink. And then once you're done, it should look something like this. And then you can make sure you even out the edges again, and then it looks something like that. So now you already made the pre-crease on the left side, so you can we can make that one. So I'll try to show it again in case the other one wasn't good. So even out your layers, and one layer in, 2 layers in, that's a big pocket. And now you use your fingers, you can open it up, and you can make your folds mountain folds, and make sure they're precise. And okay, so now then push everything in, and I don't like that. Don't like when the paper does that. Okay, there we go. And there we go. Now we've done our open sink. Now it looks like that. And I'll fold my layers back. There we go. So now the front layer is entirely done. So now we're going to repeat on the back. So fold this layer down. And then fold the points to the center. Okay, like that. And like that. You can check that they line up right there and right there. Okay, good. You can crease sharply and then fold this edge in right along the crease. There you go. And this edge too, so just right along the crease there. Okay, so now it looks like this. And now unfold both edges after you make sure you crease sharply. And then I'm going to start with the left. So now I'm just going to go a little quicker, just because the step takes a little while to do. So again, if you need to see it or you want to verify, you can go back to one of the earlier times I did it. So, okay, now it looks something like this. Okay, there we go. So I fixed it up. There we go. I did my layer here. So I'll readjust my edges. Okay, there we go. Now I've got that. And my last one. Don't worry, this is probably one of the most complex steps of the entire model. So if you get through this, it won't be too much harder. Okay. And okay. So alright. So once you're done, it should look something like this. So now we have quite a few creases, quite a few layers built up. And now the next folding is going to be pretty difficult. So where I said 25 by 25 centimeter recommendation, this is 25 by 25. Foil will work okay, but you'll need to do quite a bunch of skill and maybe a tool, because there are quite a few layers here. So the next step is we're now going to distinguish the head and tail from the wings and legs. So what we're going to do is we can fold the two layers down. So these are going to be the head and tail. And now what we do is we take the head, and you can kind of open up the layer a little bit. And we have these two lines right by the feet, right where the legs meet this layer. And we're going to make this a mountain fold like that. And we're going to align this edge with that line, like that. Make a crease, only on the one side. And then you can do the same with the other line, okay, over there. Unfold. Now it looks like this. You have these two folds, and then you can just wash it down. And it should look something like this. That is going to be the tail. Now for the head, we're going to make an inside reverse fold, but this one we're going to have to do it a little bit differently. So we're not going to make pre-creases for this one, so you can kind of fold it down, but you don't want it to be like this. You want it to go a little higher up. So, you don't quite want it, you want it something like this. So I made it go up to these 2 points. So if you saw, there were these 2 points. So yeah, you should make it go up to those 2 points, like that. Well, yeah, that's pretty good. But the other thing you could do is, if you don't like that, if you want it a bit lower, you could go a little bit lower. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, maybe a little less than that, but it's pretty good. So yeah. So now before we fold the wings back up, we're going to take this top edge and align it with the center crease there, like that, and like that. Increase sharply. So now we're going to take both these edges and reverse the fold into the little pockets behind. That. And this one, I'm just going to basically just open up the pocket a little bit and reverse the crease. Just stuff it in. Okay, so now it looks something like this. Flip it over and repeat. So this edge to the center crease. So this edge goes in, this edge goes in. There we go. Crease sharply. And reverse them into the little pockets behind. And the same with this crease. So there we go. And I can just adjust this one a little bit. Okay. So now we should have something like this. So we can fold the wings back up now. And now we have the base for our dragon. So that's it for part 1. The video is going quite long, so I'm going to do a part 2. Probably I'll get it up soon. I'll see what I can do. But I hope you enjoyed part 1. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe for the next part of this tutorial and other cool creations. So thanks for watching this video. And as always, enjoy.